Mark, what do you call a Mexican in space?
I don't know.
An astronaut, you racist motherfucker.
Oh. Uh, you're a bad man.
Hello.
Still done. Oh, I'm sorry, man. Yeah, go on.
You done? You still
I
going?
think so.
Before I forget, you want to die tonight?
Hypochondriac with asthma is in there.
I just lose all sense of equilibrium and I don't know what's happening.
I'm going to say 9 out of 10.
Always enjoy watching it every time.
Windmills were fire hazardous.
You literally used the paycheck to pay for a house. That's all it was for.
Meeting someone for the first time, you wouldn't be talking like that.
Because he was so stoned, he'd like half fallen asleep.
You and Tasha are meant to be. Y'all figure that shit out.
I just got fired yesterday. I'm free.
I swear to God, I'm gonna stick that whoop up your asshole.
Hello, welcome to the show. My name is Scott.
My name is Mark.
And you are listening to the You Run podcast horror movie review. We are the only horror movie review show completely run and controlled by you, the listeners. We give you the power to pick the movies, score the movies. You can even review them, give your comments on them as well. Also, from the 1st of November, you can join us in the Discord server where you'll get access to our calendar. You'll see all the new releases we have planned. You'll see upcoming movies in the polls, and you'll be able to fill gaps in those polls as well. And we give you all of this with no Patreon. It's completely free. No subscription, no money, we don't want anything. We give you all the stuff the other shows make you pay for free. No paywalls whatsoever. What we ask in return is you do one or two or all of the following things, depending on how kind you are to us. Tell a friend, really easy. I listen to the You Run podcast horror movie review. It's fucking great. Give them a listen. Give us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. 5 stars. If you've got something nasty to say and you want to give us a 1-star review, DM me and we'll chat about it. If you still want to give us a review after you've spoken to me, feel free. Share something on social media. Retweet something. Tag us in something. Add it to your story. Anything like that, just push the show further. We've also got a shop where we've got lots of goodies. We've got T-shirts, hoodies, beach towels, leggings, wine tumblers, beer pint glasses. Well, I suppose not just beer pint glass. You put whatever you want in it.
I was going to say a pint glass is a unit of measurement. You can put what you want in it, but it's commonly used for beer.
It's commonly used for beer, so yeah, I would say it's a beer pint glass. Loads of stuff on the shop. You can buy anything on there from a sticker, which will cost you a couple of quid, up to a beach towel that will cost you 25. Christmas is coming. People might want that. And finally, we've got our special deal. I've gone all Mexican.
Don't do it.
For £50, you can get your own personalised episode. Any movie you want, doesn't have to be horror, can be literally anything at all. So if you want us to review Mickey's Great Adventure, we'll do that.
I would be up for doing that.
That'd be cool, actually. Mickey, could you imagine us reviewing a Disney movie? You couldn't play it to kids.
There was one film I was thinking of the other day, and I was like, I really hope we'd get to do that on the show. But I was like, that's not horror. Could we pull that off? And it's Sylvester Stallone's Daylight. So if anybody out there who really loves Sylvester Stallone's Daylight, I'm a massive fan and would love to do a podcast on it. So feel free to get your hand in your pocket, and I will do it with you all night long. That sounded weird.
It did. Is that the one where he's stuck in a tunnel?
Yeah, it's epic. His best film by far. There's Cliffhanger as well.
There's Demolition Man.
There's definitely it's up there with one of the greats.
Okay.
He's done some good films.
On that episode, you can come on. You could be guest, or you could ask us to get a guest from the past, and if they're available, we'll get them. You can put whatever quiz you want in there. You can either do the quiz yourself, or make Mark do it, or make me do it, or whatever you want. It's £50. We will record it with you. We will edit it. We will put all the music, everything else, and we'll send it to you. You can either keep it for yourself, or you can give it as a gift.
Or we could release it for you publicly for everyone else to enjoy with your consent.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do.
We're happy to do that as well.
This is a You Run podcast after all. We will do with that episode what you wish.
Yeah, and if it is Mickey's Great Adventure or DuckTales the movie, we will release it, and we will release it under the You Run podcast horror movie review banner. I'm happy with that.
The things we do for money.
Exactly. Shameless. Whores. We're whores. Each week we bring you a brand new episode, be it a new release, listener request, poll pick movie. Me and Mark give you a full rundown and then our thoughts. We also got various other features that pop up along the way. The first of which is Mark's
recommended account of the week.
So this week's recommended account of the week is For the Love of Horror. This is an event This is an event me and Scott have just attended this weekend with, of course, Elise and many other of you out there. We've had such enormous pleasure to have to meet over the weekend. The reason I'm recommending this account this week is because coming up on Friday's Newsweek, we are doing a For the Love of Horror special. Now, for those of you in America or people who haven't had the opportunity to be able to attend this event and have no idea what this event is, if you follow their Instagram page, you will be able to get a little bit more of an idea of what we've experienced. These guys will have guest interviews, they will have photos from the days, from the weekend, from the events, from the nighttime party that me and Scott will be discussing in great length on Friday. This is basically just my way of saying, look, this is what we're going to be talking about. This is where we've just been. Not saying anything about the event right here. We're going to save that for Newsweek, but I just want you to be able to go to that place, have some more context of what it is we're talking about. As much as me and Scott are going to share lots of photos and videos and stuff on our own social medias throughout the week up to Newsweek, this is basically just the event page where you can find all the interviews and stuff with the guests that they've had there. And chances are they share a lot of photos throughout the weekend. So you might even find me and Scott's face pop up on their page at some point over the weekend too. So check them out. It's For the Love of Horror, or if you want to search them by search bar, it's FTLO Horror, all one word. And obviously, judging by our experience this weekend, this is most likely going to be an annual event for me and Scott on the U Run podcast.
Yeah.
Tickets go on sale pretty early on after the event has just finished. So if you do want to attend next year and have the opportunity to be able to come and speak to me and Scott and have the opportunity to come and meet us, tickets go on sale usually.
I'd probably be billing if you want to go and meet all the celebrities. But yeah, hey, shit. If you want to come and meet us,
we're worthy enough.
Yeah, if you want to pay a ticket to come and see me and Mark, you're more than welcome.
If you pay for a ticket for the event, you don't have to pay extra cost to be able to speak to me and Scott. We will just be there free of charge. So if you can find us milling about the event, you can come and talk to us free of charge. It'd be great, and we'd love to meet you all. So check out For the Love of Horror's account, and that way you'll get a little bit more context on where we are and what we were doing this weekend, and also what's going to be leading up to Friday's Newsweek.
Yeah. Okay. And they are an awesome account, awesome event, and yeah, wait till Friday. Friday's going to blow you away. Today, we are bringing you a poll-picked movie as we venture to the darkest reaches of space, joining Alan Grant from Jurassic Park, Morpheus from The Matrix, as they investigate a ship that has returned through a black hole 7 years after its maiden voyage. I know you've all guessed already, but those of you who haven't, we are looking at Paul W.S. Anderson's 1997 sci-fi horror, Event Horizon.
So this isn't a Jurassic Park and Matrix crossover?
No.
That would be awesome, though, wouldn't it?
It would. I'd be all over that. Neo and a T-Rex.
Excellent.
At 0300 this morning, TDRS picked up an automated navigation beacon broadcasting at 2-minute intervals in Neptune orbit.
This is incredible. It's the Event Horizon. She's come back.
Event Horizon is the culmination of a secret government project to create a spacecraft capable of faster-than-light flight. The ship doesn't really go faster than light. What it does is it creates a dimensional gateway that allows it to jump instantaneously from one point of the universe to another light years away.
Where's she been for the last 7 years, Doctor?
That's what we're here to find out. After 7 years in deep space.
There were 18 people on board this ship when it disappeared. I want them all accounted for.
Opening outer door.
It came back, abandoned.
Any crew? Negative. This place is a tomb.
But it didn't come back alone.
Captain Miller! I've got some problems here!
Has been beyond the boundaries of our universe. Who knows where it's been and what it's brought back with
The ship is reacting to us, and the reactions are getting stronger.
What are you telling me? That this ship is alive?
I have such one thing to show you.
Oh my God!
It knows my secrets. It knows my fears.
Vacate, I want off this ship.
Can't leave. She won't let you. God help us.
As we do every week, we kick it off with your wonderful scores, and you scored on an average out of 10. It's done the sliding bar on Instagram, and you scored this an 8 out of 10. Really fair score. Not telling you,
solid.
Not telling you if we're higher or lower. Stick around, and you'll find out later.
That's all I'm going to say on that. Yeah. I will save my score till the end.
I was looking at Mark for some sort of assistance. He just stared at me like, what the fuck do you want me to do? What do you want me to say? I'm not your puppet. Right, this movie opens with some solid 90s opening credits, a really bad CGI black hole, bold white text with all the cast names.
It was weird, this opening, wasn't it? Because it's very like cream trans classics.
Yeah, it's very much so. I think it's kind of, that was the intro to most kind of sci-fi movies in the 90s.
It was weird. It felt like, do you remember that TV show when you were a kid and it was like Beetleborgs or something like that? And it had that real heavy bass, dancey track, and it was like all, I don't know. I mean, obviously you get the black hole thing, but before you get any of that and you just get the credit sequence, it's all very just really poor, like Windows 98 screensaver stuff.
Yeah,
I liked it. I was on board for it, but it was weird.
They used Windows 98 a lot in this movie.
They did indeed, yeah.
We get some text on the screen. Says 2015, permanent colony established on the moon. 2032, commercial mining begins on Mars. Well, the 2015 prediction was fucking way out.
Yeah, well, as far as we're aware, anyway.
Yeah,
no conspiracy theories here. We don't wear tinfoil hats. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no. Yeah, they definitely haven't done that, and I'm guessing the 2032 one will be wrong as well. We get some more bullet point text. 2040, deep space research vessel Event Horizon launched to explore the boundaries of the solar system. She disappeared without a trace beyond the 8th planet Neptune. This is the worst space disaster on record. We now get some more text. I really fucking hate reading movies, just in case anyone's aware. I'm making you suffer it with me.
I'm quite grateful for this, though, because this film has a lot to digest, and it quickly does the exposition away that we need rather quickly. It's done within a 10-second slideshow, and that's it. We're on board. We know where we are, and that's it.
Yeah, it now goes 2047 now. Oh, I found this opening. I was like, fucking come on.
Really? I mean, it was like 10 seconds long. It couldn't have done it any quicker.
It was like 5 minutes. It took.
It really wasn't that long. I mean, the credit sequence with the whole Blade base to the nation thing was extremely long. But this actual rolling credit sequence, I mean, Star Wars has a longer rolling credit sequence than this.
Yeah, but Star Wars is forgiven all sins. Don't attack Star Wars. Do I attack Lord of the Rings? Do I?
You fucking better not.
Exactly. I really hate these kind of openings, and I hate the fact that the text wasn't just like text. It was like it come across like it was being typed on a 90s computer. It just really, I didn't like it.
Yeah, it was Matrixy as fuck.
It was.
I like it. And this is directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, and this is his first real proper film, I think. By all accounts, this is his first big step into Hollywood. I mean, this guy is now synonymous with countless. I mean, this is the video game adaptation guy to go to. And he's about 2 films shy of being the next Rob Zombie, the way he cast his wife in all of his films. He's done Mortal Kombat. He's done one of the latest ones he did was a Monster Hunter. I've never played Monster Hunter. I know it's a video game, and I know he did an adaptation that came out during the pandemic era, which bombed.
Yeah.
But he's most famously known for directing all of the 2000 era Resident Evil film series. And
No,
he's
no.
married to Mila Djokovic and casts her in everything he does now. So he is pretty much Rob Zombie. In fact, there is probably more Resident Evil films than there is Rob Zombie films in total. So therefore, he is probably more of a knobhead than Rob Zombie. For that reason.
but Mia Djokovic is much nicer than Sherry Moon Zombie as well.
She is indeed, yes. So for that reason alone, he'll get a pass.
Sorry, Rob.
Well done, Paul.
Yeah, well, have you seen Paul W.S. Anderson?
Only recently when I was doing research for this film, and I was like, really?
Fuck, he is punching way above his weight.
Yeah, money talks.
QPS3, quality CGI, space and asteroid. What the fuck was this? It's literally like I switched on an old space game on the PlayStation. I was like, this is bad. So
yeah,
bad.
but you see, the thing is, I love it. I really, really like it. Like me, I grew up being a big Red Dwarf fan. For those of you who don't know, Red Dwarf is a comedy sitcom UK space drama thing. It's extremely funny and extremely low on quality effects and practical effects, and it reminded me so much of that I couldn't help but love it.
Yeah, it's definitely Red Dwarf. We get some shots of the exterior and interior of the ship, which look brilliant because they're all a scale model. And then they fuck this up with like a CGI book and a watch and stuff floating around. And the CGI, when this came out, I remember going, this looks quite good. This is good. I like this. But now, 97 to now, it just looks so bad. So bad. It's almost like airbrushed on. It's terrible.
It is the worst. It is the worst. And it's mainly, but to this film's credit, as bad as the CGI in moments, it's this anti-gravity stuff with the inanimate objects floating around that is the worst. Like, if you could take this and do a digital remaster of it, you could clean this up and it would still pass for today's standards, I think. I mean, the stuff exterior, looking at the spaceships floating past planets, and stuff like that looks great. It looks really, really good. Using the scale models on a CGI background looks fantastic. It is just these little moments. And to be honest with you, they're not really vital either. I don't think they needed to be there. You could have taken them away and it would have had no impact on the story or the film.
Yeah, I agree. You could take all these floaty things away. You don't need them. It's in space. We understand in space there is no gravity. We're not idiots.
And the thing is as well, I think the actual idea of the shot was more to show the scope and scale of the ship than it was the object. So I think you would have still had that airiness and that scale of the ship without having them objects floating around. So for me, I could have quite happily done without these moments.
Yeah, because the ship is ginormous as well. It's absolutely immense. It looks incredible.
The set design on this ship is just outstanding, and I'll get to it when we come to it, but it's one of the biggest selling points of this film for me.
When we get into facts, I'll tell you some stuff about the set design that will absolutely blow your mind. We float into a room where a naked man is floating and rotating before screaming. We get a cool shot where it goes into his mouth and then emerges from Sam Neill's eye as he lays in bed. I love that shot.
I love that shot as well. And I've only recently discovered this film, probably a couple of years ago. I wasn't aware of it before its release. I think it was only when I started doing my page a few years back that I first discovered Event Horizon. Can we do spoilers at this point? Can we talk spoilers?
Yeah.
The guy who is floating and spinning is obviously Sam Neill.
Yeah.
But they cast a different actor to play him in that moment because as soon as if that was Sam Neill in the makeup that he's in at the end of the film, I would have straight away been like, that is Sam Neill.
Exactly.
But this is a different actor at this point, and it's different facial structure and everything. So like, it was weird to me. Obviously, it makes sense by the time you get to the end, but watching it again on a rewatch, I was like, why didn't you just do Sam Neill?
Yeah. We see Sam Neill wake up and look around at like a shrine of photographs of his wife before he begins his day on a space station. We get some really cool shots on the space station that are really trippy. So he looks out of his window and the camera pans back and he's upside down. And then camera pans back through the space station while the space station is spinning. And you get this kind of, it's really trippy because there's obviously artificial gravity on the space station that keeps him on the floor. But there's
I think it's the boots, isn't it? It's they engage the boots throughout. So I think it's the boots that act as. I think there must be magnetic boots which draws him to the closest contact of the ship, so he can walk freely on the ceiling, even though he's upside down.
It's really cool.
He's eating his cereal upside down. That must be why That is so clever, man. I didn't even realize this, but he's walking on the ceiling eating his cereal. And obviously, if he walked on the floor eating his cereal, that shit would just float all over the spaceship.
Yeah.
Because he's floating on the ceiling. That is awesome, man.
It's really, really cool.
Wow, that is cool.
We cut to the Lewis and Clark ship, which is, through some more text we get, is it's a research ship on a top secret mission. We meet the crew, who are captained by Lawrence Fishburne. And Sam Neill tries to introduce himself. I love this scene. So Sam Neill tries to introduce himself to Lawrence Fishburne. And Fishburne is like, clock is ticking, Doctor. And he's preparing the crew to all get in their cryo tanks to go to sleep. These aren't like the cryo tanks in Alien, where they look like them. But they're not the ones in Alien where you go in and you're frozen. You go in and they fill the fucking thing up with water.
I thought this was really unique and really clever. I liked the fact that they were fully it was basically like the incubator thing that you find on the Matrix, where they're in those battery cells. That's exactly how it looked. Fucking hell, man. The Matrix has drawn so much from this film. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it really, really has. But this scene in particular drew a lot from Alien, especially Alien 2, this kind of the camaraderie of these rescue people they're pretty much like soldiers. They're dressed in flight suits. They're a
family unit.
Yeah, they got this kind of hoorah attitude, and I like them. I
do.
Like
I think they're a solid cast of characters. The actors are great in the roles, and you genuinely feel the authenticity between the lot of them, and you can tell that they're a family unit, and they spend multiple periods of time together aboard this ship doing missions before going home to see the family for short holidays, and then back on the ship with their actual family, and that is very apparent in the dynamic between a lot of them.
Yeah, I like it. We get 56 more writing on the screen. 56 days later, Sam Neill awakens, exiting his pod to an empty ship, and he hears whispers. He starts to have a look around, and then one of the bunks snapped open. Like you've got this roller shutter on like the bunks, and that snaps open. That got me. I forgot all about it. I jumped when that happened. He reaches the bridge where he sees a girl in a chair. He spins her around, and her eyes, like she's like, I'm waiting. She says, I'm waiting, before opening her eyes, revealing that she has no eyeballs. That effect.
The CGI is terrible in here.
I thought it looked great.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
No, I thought it was like PlayStation 1 graphics. It was, I don't know, maybe my telly's bigger than yours. It looked shit. But again, it was serviceable enough. And like I say, you take this film back into the editing room for a day and you could touch this up to look outstanding.
Yeah, you could. Sam, no, I'm going to stop calling him Sam. Sam Neill's character is called Weir.
Dr. Weir, yeah.
Dr. Weir. He now wakes up in the pod and it was all a dream, which instantly you're like, ooh. And this is kind of where I went, I really like this.
Yeah.
I like the tone of this. It's got a really dark tone and it doesn't explain much of what's going on. And I like that.
Yeah, the curiosity levels are always there on high alert throughout the whole film. You're like, oh, what does that mean? Who is that? Oh, why does that do that? You're constantly on the edge of your seat thinking about what's going to happen here. Who is that? Why has that got relevance to this? It's very, very well written.
Yeah, it is.
And it draws so many elements from so many other iconic horror films. I mean, this dream sequence alone is just Nightmare on Elm Street vibes all over the place. You know, this is a sci-fi film at heart, but it's very horror driven throughout. I mean, this is the most Hellraiser-y sci-fi film I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it is. There's a reason for that as well. We'll get to that in facts as well. The crew also get out of their stasis. They're greeted by Fishburne, who plays Miller. He starts issuing orders. One of the female crew, Stark, turns around and goes, do you mind if I get dressed first? And he's like, actually, I do. Get to the bridge. We've got a job to do. And like sends her up to the bridge in her bra and panties, which I thought was quite funny. He's like, yes, actually, I do have a problem. You get dressed. Fucking go do your job.
She's beautiful. I love this actress. I always get her confused with Laura Dern as well.
I don't know who the actress is, if I'm being brutally honest.
She's a British actress. Very, very beautiful. But yeah, she's very much looks like Laura Dern.
Okay.
Laura Dern's the woman from Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
You get where I'm going with this, don't you?
Yeah, I know where you're going. We're moving on. We get a scene in the break room where we see a character called Peters watching home videos of a really unwell kid. And we get Miller apologises that he couldn't find a replacement for her. He tried, but she's kind of stuck on the ship. And she's like, oh, that's okay, because his dad's going to have him over Christmas and I'll get him when we get back. And you can see in her eyes she knows he's not going to be there when she gets back. It's quite sad.
Yeah.
But we get introductions of characters in probably one of the best ways I've ever seen it done in a movie. I love how they introduce the rest of the crew.
Because it's basically saying, let's not fuck about with exposition. You're you, and you. We've introduced everyone. Now let's move on.
Yeah, and I'm going to introduce them so you know who they all are as we talk through. So we find out they're 2 hours from Neptune, and Miller introduces Dr. Weir to the crew. You've got the second in command, which is Lieutenant Stark. She's great. I like her. We get Mr. Justin from engineering. He's kind of like the geeky kid. That's the best way to describe him.
Mr. Justin. Oh, is he Baby Bear?
Yeah.
Baby Bear, yeah. Do you remember what Baby Bear's from?
No.
Baby Bear is the monster truck guy from Idle Hands.
I don't know. I've never seen Idle Hands.
You've never seen Idle Hands?
No. I've no idea.
The one where he cuts his hand off, the Idle Hands, it's got the guy from Final Destination.
No.
Dude. You've never seen Idle Hands?
I've never heard of Idle Hands.
How have you not heard of Idle Hands? It's got Seth Green in it, and they come back as zombies with like the beer bottle in his head.
No.
Everybody, please message Scott and tell him he's an idiot.
Yeah, but please do. I'll go and find it. I'll find it. I'll let you know what I think.
Mate, I can't believe you don't know Idle Hands.
No.
That's blown my mind. That seriously blown my mind. You don't know Idle Hands. It's got the guy from Final Destination. Who's the guy from Final Destination? He's a Chucky TV series now.
I know who you mean, but I can't remember his name. I'm going to get the shit you get now. Everyone's going to message me going, what do you mean you've not seen Idle Hands?
Oh, dude. Move on, because
this
is embarrassing.
We get the funky spaceman, Mr. Cooper, who's the rescue technician. I love this guy. He's awesome. We get Peters, who's the medical technician, the pilot, Mr. Smith, and finally TJ, who is the guy from Harry Potter who plays Malfoy's dad. And they go, and this is TJ. And he looks up and goes, trauma.
I knew I recognised that dude, and I couldn't place where I knew him from. It's fucking Malfoy's dad.
Yeah, it's Lucius Malfoy.
Oh, for fuck's sake. If he had a blonde wig on, I would have known straight away.
Lucius Malfoy. We meet at last.
Cooper made me burst out laughing. He just got me so good. Well, after they do the introduction, he's like, okay, now, Skipper, now we all know each other. Can someone tell me why the fuck we're here?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Absolutely love it. The Doctor starts by saying he appreciates everyone. He appreciates being on the ship. And Miller cuts him off going, that's very nice you appreciate it. We don't. We were called off leave for this. So can you cut the shit and tell us why we're here?
Yeah.
They're really horrible to him. They're really harsh.
He's right, though. Do you know what I mean? They're all supposed to be going home for Christmas with their families, and they've been called in for a secret mission, and I have no idea why they're there, but they have to be there, so they're pissed.
Did you notice the little undertones here? A secret mission in outer space. Toy Story took inspiration from this.
Oh, really?
Mm.
I didn't pick up on that at all.
Little bonus fact for you. Weir starts explaining that the Event Horizon went missing 7 years ago, and then explains that it was on a secret mission, galaxy jumping, but bending time and space, and they've now received a signal from the ship as it's re-emerged. He continues to explain the ship created a wormhole and went from one side of the galaxy to the other in an instant, and they've been tasked now with recovering the ship.
The way he explains this to these cast of characters is just outstanding. Like, he couldn't have broken this down any better for somebody who's watching a sci-fi film who has no idea what the fuck is going on. It's just perfectly done. He basically, all the cast, he's like, starts using all these physics and science where it's like, no, we want it in layman's terms. He dumbs it down even more. And then like, no. Talk to us like we're stupid.
You know, it's Cooper again. He goes, okay, I said, dumb it down. How about speak fucking English?
Yeah. And he basically gets a poster, which is Mr. Smith's poster of the naked lady, and says, look, what's the best way to get from point A to point B? And he pokes a hole at the bottom of the page and he pokes a hole at the top of the page. And they're all like, well, the fastest way is a straight line. And everyone laughs at Baby Bear for saying a straight line. And he's like, no, the fastest way is, I can't remember what word he used, but he basically folds the paper in half and puts the two holes together and then runs a pen through them and then unfolds it and says that the Event Horizon has this gravity field on it that can basically bend space and time and bring the 2 points in the universe together to make something pass through a wormhole out the other side and then unfold space and time, basically making you travel faster than the speed of light. In fact, basically traveling teleporting from one point to another.
Yeah, he does it. It's explained in such a great way that, yeah, you'll get it straight away.
Immediately. And I was just there and I was like, do you know what, man? That is the best way any sci-fi film I've ever watched explains science to me.
Yeah.
And I couldn't appreciate it more in that moment either, because it explains the rest of the film so perfectly. Even no matter how sci-fi the rest of this film gets, you will always refer back to that one simple moment and understand everything that's going on.
You will. They then play the last transmission, or Weir plays the last transmission they got from the ship, and you've got screaming and like monster growls and bangs and thuds. I would not be going on that ship at all after hearing that. And they're like, there's some talking. What's that saying? What's it saying? And then it's TJ goes, it's saying liberate me. It's Latin. It means save me.
This annoyed me.
Why?
Because Sam Neill's his doctor. He basically works for one of the most scientific companies on the planet, in the universe, back on Earth. And nobody's realised this is Latin up until TJ points it out on this spaceship full of mechanics.
Yeah, but remember...
Or do we not know that nobody else has pointed it out and everybody knows, even including Sam Neill, but nobody on the ship knows? I couldn't tell which one it was, but it was like...
or you go the other way and just remember that TJ also played the incredibly clever person in Armageddon.
Yeah, but it's just like... Yeah, it's Latin, but surely Sam Neill acts so surprised, like, oh, it's Latin. I've just come from the most intelligent company on the planet, and not a single person picked up that this was Latin apart from you, TJ. Well done. And it's like, surely somebody would have noticed that was Latin speaking at this point other than TJ.
But the stupid thing is they get to this point and then they do that. And I think they realised there was some little plot holes emerging, because they literally dump this scene and they literally dump it. You get
and for those, I'm sure you have something to say for facts, and I'm not going to dive into it too deep, but this is a heavily, heavily edited and cut film.
Yes, it is, massively.
So for those little plot holes that we're missing, I'm sure there is a film version of this out there that will fill all of those blanks in that I'm dying to see.
No, there's not. I'll explain that in facts as well.
I know what you're going to say as well. It's like fucking Aladdin's cave somewhere.
They get an alarm that tells them that they've just arrived at the event horizon. They perform a flyby of the ship before docking with the ship. I'm going to add this, the effects here just is straight out of Alien. The ship they latch onto, the way that it latches on, the smoke that comes out of the cylinders. It is literally like watching an exterior scene in Alien. It's so good.
Yeah, outstanding. It really is. And I love how when they're docking, Mr. Smith's flying it, and he reaches up for he got like his claw arm that comes off his ship to grab onto the event horizon, and Dr. Weir's like, no, that's not an anchor arm. Don't grab onto that. He's like, it is now. Just clamp straight onto it.
Yeah, they all treat everything he says. They treat with absolute disdain. Like, no, that's not an anchor point. It's not load bearing.
It's not load bearing. That's what he says. He's like,
it clamps on. He's like, it's now. It's carrying our load.
You can just see the disappointment in Dr. Weir's face, like, fucking space monkeys.
They pick up multiple life forms throughout the entirety of the ship, but they can't pinpoint them. So they decide to do it the old-fashioned way and go in and look themselves. Again, fuck no. Have these people not seen Alien and Alien 2? Leave it.
I would be on board. But we all know it ends.
Exactly. Their spacesuits look great and are also very reminiscent of the dive suits in the Abyss.
Yeah, I was going to say, I literally have in my notes, they look like the dive suits from Abyss. They're so cool. I love the spacesuits in this. Very, very, very good.
Yeah, very believable. They're not like, I don't know.
They're not like shiny and neon and in the face flashing. They basically look like an engineer's underwater suit with a little bit more armor on it.
Yeah, it's not the spacesuit from Sharknado.
Not again. Sharknado 3.
Oh, that looks like a fan-made Halloween costume.
Dr. Weir's told he can't come on board and he needs to stay on the rescue ship. And he's guiding them through the event horizon via radio. We get some more bad, shite, floaty CGI stuff, which annoyed me. Mr. Justin heads to engineering, and Miller and Peters head to the bridge. We get another jump scare, which I love this jump scare, the glove that brushes Miller's face.
And he shits himself.
And he shits himself.
And everyone's like, oh, bloody hell, Miller's just got the wind up him. He's like, no, I'm cool.
Yeah, he is like, no, it's fine. And you can see he's like, shit. Justin has reached engineering and like a funhouse spinning tunnel. That
Yes,
tunnel's
the meat
bizarre.
grinder is fucking ace. This is, again, the set design in this. The meat tunnel itself, I can't remember what the actual name of this is. I'm looking at my notes as if to say, but it's basically the corridor that leads to the heart of the ship. And it's something to do with anti-gravity field. There is some scientific explanation as to why the tunnel does what it does.
It's
on
the
way
tunnel
to
you walk through in a funhouse, is what it is.
It's fucking crazy. Everything in this ship is spiky and dangerous as fuck. And this tunnel is basically like a big churning cheese grater. It's awesome and it looks incredible.
The set design in this, I can't get over how good it is. Everything looks so on point. When he gets in there, there's a coolant leak, and you get some really bad CGI like goop.
Yeah, floating water. It's basically it's like silver flubber floating around.
It does, which doesn't look good.
No. But there is one scene in particular where this comes into effect that looks amazing, and when we get to it, if you remember in your notes, I will say about it.
Yeah, okay. Peters finds the ship log and then gets smashed by a body that's floating through the air.
Yeah, and it's like all cut up and minging, and his eyes are missing, and
yeah, and I love the fact that they're really not fazed by it. Because they obviously do search and rescues on ships like this, and they find this a lot. They refer to it as a corpsicle.
A corpsicle.
Which cracked me up. Justin finds the gravity drive in the heart of the ship, and it opens up, severing communication with the rest of the crew. We get some more bad CGI as he reaches into this. I don't know, it kind of opens like a portal, something you'd see in Stargate.
Yeah, and it's basically the Stargate opening, but if you imagine the mirror from the Matrix where Neo touches it and gets silver goop on his finger.
Yeah, so he puts his hand there and then he gets yanked through to the other side.
Yes.
Which sends a shockwave through the ships, causing explosions on the event horizon and on the rescue ship as well.
That's a really cool effect, though, the way that anti-gravitational field just sort of like bursts like a ripple effect right through the event horizon and then onto, I can't remember the name of the ship that they're on, but it blasts right through that as well, causing like a big hole in the side of the ship.
Yeah, and it looks good, and I like it. It kind of made sense to me. It's a disaster for the crew because the ship they're on, or the rescue ship, is now fucked. There's leaking.
It's losing pressure and losing oxygen, and they have very limited time to remain on that ship, causing everybody to then have to board the event horizon.
Yeah, which I wouldn't be happy about. And to be fair, the crew aren't happy about either.
Nobody's as unhappy about it as Mr. Smith.
No, Mr. Smith's like, no.
He's like, no. And then Miller comes on the communications. He's like, Smith, get on the ship now. I was like, seriously, no, I'm not coming aboard.
But he does.
He does.
Now, I've mentioned the bad CGI floating stuff a lot. Literally every second I've mentioned it. It does pay off when they switch the gravity back on.
That's exactly what I was going to pull you upon if you didn't mention it. It looks incredibly good.
And it all makes sense. All of this stuff that was floating around now all drops to the floor. So you get the body that's floating around, the corpsicle, hits the floor and shatters like glass.
Yeah.
You get the floaty, goopy silver flubber.
It's so cool when it does it. It basically looks like somebody's popped a water balloon. Like if you watch them YouTube videos of the slow-mo guys, it's like that. It's like a water balloon floating in space. And then as soon as the anti-gravity is shifted on, you just get these big rain droplets just splatter all across the ship. It looks incredible. It really does. I just can't understand how they can go from such an amazing effects to the prior effects of the goop floating in space.
You know why?
I don't know how it's done.
All of these effects of everything dropping are practical.
Well, there you go. That's why then.
Yeah.
But the transition between the two looks really, really good.
It does.
And this was a massive highlight for me. As soon as I saw it, I was like, that looks awesome. How the hell have they done that?
Especially the man shattering. I was like, that is so cool. It was very Terminator 2 man shatter.
Exactly, Terminator 2.
They now get most of the systems up and running, but they've got no radio, and they've only got enough breathable air for 20 hours. Justin is now in the medical bay because he's come back out of the wormhole. He's breathing, but he's completely unresponsive. Miller loses it and basically grabs hold of Weir and goes, "You can explain to me what's going on."
Yeah.
And Miller's like, Weir's going, "Well, it couldn't have happened." It's like, the gravity drive couldn't have switched on. It must be an energy pulse. And he kind of comes up with all these rubbish excuses.
Something he does quite frequently throughout this film. I mean, you noticed immediately from as soon as Weir steps foot aboard the Event Horizon, the shift in personality and character change from him. Something that only grows throughout this film. Immediately, as soon as he steps foot on board, he changes. His facial expressions changes. His level of sarcasm towards the rest of the crew changes, and the character shift is immediately noticeable, and it only gets worse from this point on.
Yeah, and Sam Neill's a great actor, and he pulls that shift off really well because he's really pleasant and he tries to like be their friend when he's on the rescue ship. When he gets on the Event Horizon, he's like, "Fuck you guys."
Yeah, but there's moments that come back around and stuff, and you're like, you can tell he's acting pleasant, but nobody else is aware of it. But you can see that he's just such a good actor, and it's just such a good performance that he does here, because you're aware that he's putting on a persona to try and please everybody else, but at the same time, everyone else is falling for it, and you know that he is not the same person he was before stepping aboard the ship, and it's so subtle. And obviously, as soon you will never notice this on your first watch. If you've never seen this film before and you watch this and you haven't heard us speak about it, you would never pick up on it. But if you go back and watch it a second time, you'll be like, "Holy shit, Sam Neill is awesome."
Yeah, he really, really is. Miller, not happy with the explanation, goes, "Right, well, we're sealing the room to the gravity drive. No one's going in there." Weir's like, "No." He's like, "No, I'm not asking you. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
it's closed. You're not going in there." The gravity drive looks like something from the Hellraiser universe, like these spinning wheels and cogs, and it's cool.
Yeah, and they have like these really intricate designs and sort of patterns on it. It's that whole Sophia room with the spikes, because it's basically, if you imagine a ball inside a bigger ball, inside a bigger ball, and they're all spinning at opposite angles, and then you have that inside a circular room with spikes coming out of the wall with Egyptian hieroglyphs all the way around it with a big beam of light in the middle. It's probably the best way I can describe it, but honestly, the set design is incredible. It really is.
And if you now go to YouTube and you see the intro for our quiz, did you pay attention? You'll fully understand where the inspiration for that video I created came from.
Nice.
Because that is exactly what it is. It's the gravity drive, but yeah.
Do I need to message Mr. Anderson and get you done for copyright?
No. It's different enough. It's if the gravity drive in Terminator 2 had a baby, that's what I've created for YouTube. We now get Peters looking through the ship's log, and she starts to hear noises. She checks to see where TJ is, and he's like, "I'm on deck 4." So she picks up this like medical saw and starts to explore. Under a tarp in the medical bay, you see like a hand scraped down it, and inside she's greeted with her sick child. TJ comes in as she starts screaming, and the child disappears as she turns away and turns back. It's gone. It took me a long time to really, really go, I love this in this movie. I was on board, but this was the point where I went, this is fucking awesome. It's a ghost movie on a spaceship.
Yeah. I mean, the way that it handles the inclusion of each character's own individual past trauma and uses that to weaken the characters is second to none. I honestly, I love this film a lot. I really do. And one of the biggest highlights for me is how well done this angle is, because this has been done. Don't get me wrong, this has been done. We've seen this before in countless films, how they use people's past traumas and personal experiences to come against them. I've never seen it done as well as this throughout.
No, it's really, really good. Peters now shows the last entry in the ship's log, which cuts off midway through, and it's lots of screaming. It doesn't sound good. As this happens, the power in the ship starts to drain as the gravity drive kicks in, and Justin now starts to have a seizure, saying the dark is coming. And I was like, oh man, this is good. Weir is in the weird tunnel system that looks like a maintenance hatch.
The motherboard room.
Yeah.
What the fuck is he doing in this motherboard room?
I don't know. He's gone in there to try and sort the power out, and it's like he stepped into like the Matrix. It's like all green and flashy,
like
twinkly lights.
The cube is the best way I could describe it, but it's like he goes in and he takes out this microchip, doesn't he, out of a certain part of the motherboard.
Yeah.
It's never really addressed why he took that out or what relevance it has. And again, I feel like this is something that has been cut from the overall story and has relevance at some point. But the set design, again, this corridor. It's basically like Die Hard. It's like Bruce Willis coming through a tunnel, but with neon green lights and motherboard systems around him. It looks great.
Yeah, it does. All the lights go out and we get a freaky voice that keeps calling. And we get a great scare as like all the lights go off and then the lights come on and the woman without eyeballs is like next to him, right next to him. She's like, stay with me forever. At the same time this is happening, you get Miller in the Event Horizon, the gravity drive room, sees a man on fire emerge from the water. I love the way they handle this because you get all this weird shit going on and the crew now meet up and start to tell each other about the hallucinations. They're not hiding it. They're like, this crazy shit's happening. Has it happened to you? And how often does that happen in a movie? It doesn't.
Never. And all of them are openly talking about it. Like, yeah, I saw this and I saw that. Dr. Weir's like, even though he's seen his own trauma and his own ex-wife who committed suicide, he's seen all these events. He's the one who's like, no, guys, you're losing it. That's not real. That's not, it's in your mind. It's not a thing. You know, like, I don't believe that's happened. You're suffering. He tries to pass it off as some sort of science jargon, space jargon.
And that's where Smith absolutely loses it and goes for Weir. He's ready to rip his head off. TJ has got the best way of subduing anyone I've ever seen. He grabs his crewmate and his friend by the throat and holds a scalpel to his neck, telling him to calm down.
And again, this is another moment where you're like, what relevance does that have? Because it clearly shows that TJ has some form of past trauma that we never see. We never see anything from Weir's past trauma, TJ's past trauma, or Baby Bear's past trauma, or the blonde lady who I said was very beautiful. We never see theirs. I feel like theirs have been cut from this film, and I feel like they do have relevance. And I feel like this moment with TJ where he takes a scalpel to Mr. Smith's neck and he's like shocked and scared by what he's done, I feel like that would have had relevance in the original cut of this film.
Yeah, I think you're right. I really do. There's so much cut from this. We get Cooper and Smith now are sent to do repairs on the rescue ship, and they're told you've got, I think at this point it's like 16, you've got 16 hours. I want it fixed. It's not an option. If you don't fix it, we're not going home. Go and fix it. Do it now.
I love this as well because he's like, Smith's like, yeah, I can fix it, but I need time. And he's like, you've got 16 hours. And Smith's like, shit. And he just gets on the mic. He's like, yeah, no problem. 16 hours. Job done.
Yeah, fine.
It's not, he's like, we're going to run out of oxygen and we're all going to die if this isn't done in 16 hours. He's like, yeah, time to get to work.
Yeah. And then this is where we get some, again, due to bad editing here and bits cut out, we get Stark comes up with the theory that the ship is alive. And it's brought back a life form through the black hole, and it's reacting to their presence in the same way that an immune system would react.
Yeah.
I found it just weird. It doesn't,
I loved it.
But it doesn't work. There's bits missing that don't explain how all of a sudden she's gone, I know what this could be.
No, yeah, you're right. You're right. But the thing that I find really hard with this film is I can piece those bits together.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I know the history behind this film, and I know it's been heavily edited and heavily chopped, and I can piece together the bits in my own mind what should be there for me to make logical sense of it from start to finish.
Yeah.
So like I get what you're saying, and I can get from an outsider's perspective, you'd be like, no, that doesn't make sense because of X, Y, Z. But also knowing the history of the film, I can put it together myself well enough to enjoy.
Yeah, and I think most people can. I think most people can fill in the gaps, and it's only a minor gripe I've got to be.
Yeah, but no, you're right to bring attention to it. But I'm just saying, from my perspective, I'm aware of what you're saying, and other people may not be aware of what you're saying and thinking, oh, well, you're right, that doesn't make sense. But if you know the history behind the film, you can work out why it's done the way it is.
Yeah. Back in the medical bay, you get Peter's watching Justin. She turns around and he disappears from the bed. She freaks. Yeah, the lights go off. There's banging that can be heard. And the only light that's on is in an area that says biohazard. The banging stops and there's an explosion. Peter runs to the rest of the ship and it's like, did you hear that banging? Did you hear that banging? They're like, no, what are you on about? And then all of a sudden in the room they're in, all the panels on the door start banging. And they're like, whoa. And Weir's like, we should open the door.
And he tries to open the door.
He tries to open the door. Then Stark decks him and holds him in a chokehold. It's like,
that looks incredibly painful as well, the way she had his arm. I was like, oh shit, that looks brutal.
And she's really calm as well. She's like, you're not going to open that door.
And he sort of almost snaps back into reality as if to say, like,
Okay.
Well, what was I doing? What's going on?
And literally, as this is happening, all the banging stops, and then you get an alarm sound that someone has activated the airlock, and it's Justin has gone for a wander to stand in the airlock. This scene's awesome. So he's in the airlock. Miller's outside the ship checking the progress on the rescue vessel, and he's like, "I'm on my way to go get him." So he's like doing this space walk where he's dragging himself down a pipe to get to him in time.
So cool the way the effects are done for this.
Yeah, and you've got Justin who's in there going, it's dark inside him. He's not going back to the place he went before. And he hits the open on the airlock.
Yeah, it's like, if you've seen the things I've seen, you wouldn't want to be here either, kind of thing. So he's basically he wants to kill himself is what he's doing. He's not under any sort of possession. He's basically saying, where I've been, you do not want to go where I've been.
He sets the timer as 30 seconds for the airlock to open. As the airlock opens, he floats out and like blood spurts out of his mouth, and Miller kind of almost like rugby tackles him back in.
Yeah. Because I like the build up to this as well, because in this 30 seconds, you've got Miller on the comms and he's like, listen, in order to survive this, you need to push all the air out of your lungs. It's like, it's not just a case of you going out into space, just hold on, mate, I'm coming to get you, like some sort of action flick. He's like, curl into a ball, push all the air out of you, just push every single bit of air out of you, close your eyes and keep them held tight, otherwise your eyes are going to pop out your skull. You know, it's like, it's done so well, and the science behind it, whether it's legit or not, I was on board for it. I'm like, whoa, this is awesome. Fuck.
Yeah, extra fact earlier, they had a scientific advisor. Most of what they say in this is scientific.
Pretty much science.
Yeah, really,
you
really
can't
cool.
argue with science.
He saves Justin. He's in a pretty bad way, but they stabilize him and they stick him in one of the cryopods to basically get him home. So they put him into a stasis sleep, so he's not hurt. Basically, he can't get any more hurt.
Yeah, TJ says he's going to survive, but he's not going to be pretty.
Yeah, and it's at this point we find out they've only got 4 hours left, so they've already done 16 hours on this ship. It's
an event so far.
Yeah, you can feel the pressure all the way through this movie of time.
You can see the event. You can see the expression on everyone's face as well. Everyone's sweaty. They're looking a lot more paler than they were earlier on. Like, the attention to detail in this is quite phenomenal, really, for such a film as it is. It really does take note of the little things, I think.
Yeah, it does, and this is where we get the Miller and Weir confrontation. Miller is now not taking any of Weir's shit, and he wants answers. He wants to know what the event horizon is, where it takes people, what happens. And Weir's really honest with him. He's like, I don't know. I just don't know. I simply don't understand what's going on here any more than you do. And it's at this point that they kind of go their separate ways, and Miller's pissed off. And he hears a voice shouting, "Don't leave me. Don't leave me, Sarge. Don't leave me." And
is this the point where Weir goes off into the shadows in the tunnel? Yeah, because this is where basically Miller's like, we're getting everybody off this ship, because the guys who are working on the other ship are not far off now. Cooper and Mr. Smith, they're like, we're not far off, we're nearly done. Give us another 20 minutes and we're wrapped up and we're out of here.
Yeah.
And Miller's like, right, everybody get off the ship. This is it, we're done. And Weir's like, the ship won't let you leave.
Oh no, we're not there yet. We're not.
Am I jumping guns?
Yeah, you jump forward a bit.
Sorry.
Well, we're nearly there. We're not there yet. So yeah, Miller he's like, it's all in my head. It's all in my head. And then Miller sits down with TJ and tells him who the voice was. And he explains that when he was younger and he worked on another ship, there was a colleague who died in an accident. There was a fire on a ship. He got to the evacuation pod, and TJ's like, so what did you do? He's like, I done what I was meant to do. I shut the evacuation pod and I left him to die. And he said, it was that day that I vowed that I'd never let anyone else on my ship die again. Yeah. No one in my crew will ever die.
Too busy following protocol, wasn't he?
Yeah, and this is where TJ goes, oh yeah, by the way, I made a mistake in the Latin translation. It doesn't say save me. It says save yourself.
And then there's more.
Yeah. He also found it said save yourself from hell. Yeah.
Amazing. As soon as this was announced, and I was like, holy shit, this is hell. This is not just one planet to another. This is other dimensional shit. This is amazing.
Yeah, so this is where they realise that the ship has gone to another universe and fuck knows what it's brought back with it. This is the bit where Miller's like, right, get ready to repressurise the rescue ship. And he's like, we're going. They repressurise it and it's got a leak. And Cooper's like, 20 minutes and I will have it fixed. He's like, you better, 20 minutes, we're leaving. Fixed or not, we're gone. Back on the bridge, you get Stark and Peters have gone through more of the ship's log. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a mix between what you see on the log is like a mix between the Evil Dead 2 when they're in the cellar and it's just wild noise and Hellraiser.
It's just pure violence, carnage, and gore of people committing the most adultery and violent acts imaginable. And these are the things that were so heavily edited from this film due to being so graphic and so violent. Like these, I think these scenes, you see them flash up on screen for maybe approximately 10 seconds. I think in total, from what I've read about the history of this film, this was like a 3 to 4 minute scene of just pure physical, gory carnage that got heavily cut down. But even the stuff you do see so briefly is just heinous. I mean, you get some guy sticking his hand down another man's throat, almost down to his lungs to rip him out, and you get another guy ripping his own eyeballs out, and it flashes on so quickly and in so quick sequence. But it's rough stuff. If you slowed it down and watched
it's not nice. It's really not nice.
It's really, really not nice.
Miller has, in far as I'm concerned, the best line in the movie and would be the line that come out of my mouth. He sees it for about 4 seconds and goes, we're leaving.
Yeah.
We're leaving. We're done.
Yeah. And this is when he walks down the bridge with Weir.
Yeah. And this is where Weir goes, the ship won't let you leave.
And he basically, Miller turns around to him and says, you can't go. You can't go. We've been sent here on a mission. Weir says, we've been sent here on a mission. This is what we have to do. We have to recover the ship and find for any survivors. And Miller's like, there is no survivors.
Yeah,
we need to leave. And Weir's like, well, what about the ship? He's like, I'm going to pull away from this thing as far as I need to, and I'm going to unload everything I have on it to make sure no one ever finds it again.
Yeah,
and with that, Weir just fades off into some sort of Michael Myers darkness, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, and I love Miller's passing shot as Weir fades away as he goes, fuck this ship.
Yeah, so cool.
That is the attitude that I would have at this point. You'd still be investigating. I'd be like, no, do you know what? Fuck this ship. I'm getting off. I'm going to destroy it. You poke it. I don't want it.
Yeah.
So Peters and Smith are collecting oxygen tanks by the gravity drive, and they're about to leave when the drive makes a weird noise. Smith goes, and Peters turns back, and she starts to hallucinate again. And she wanders into the room chasing the hallucination of her child. It goes up and it goes up through the stairs, and she keeps following it and leads her to her death as it stood like in a doorway, and she steps out to go and get it, like what you think is going to be a bridge, and just falls to her death. The practical effects, brilliant.
The way because the tunnel she falls down as well has literally got like bits sticking out of it. If she bounces off like every single thing on the way down, you're like, oh, you kind of feel it as she's going, and she hits her ribs, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, she doesn't just go straight down and go splat. She literally pinball
ricochets off everything possible and then splats at the bottom.
Yeah, and this is where Weir now finds her, because he arrives in the gravity drive. So the ghost kid took her up above the gravity drive, and she's fallen and landed right next to it.
Was I the only one who was shocked by his response when he finds her? Because he seems genuinely concerned about her.
Yeah, I think he's kind of slipping in and out of his bad persona. I think this was a moment where he's gone, oh shit, it killed her.
Yeah.
But this is where Weir now hallucinates, and you see the woman who has no eyes. This hallucination is different to all of the others because he leaves the ship and he ends up back in what looks like the space station he starts on at the beginning. And this is when we find out that this is his wife. And we relive her suicide, where she slits her wrists before she goes all freaky again, eyes gone, and she pokes Weir's eyes out. This scene looked great. I love this.
Is that because she's got her boobs out? Or
it's a bonus, but boobs are always a bonus. Not that I'm objectifying women, but the boobs are there to be looked at. They're not there just for fun.
I'm not knocking you for it. I'm just asking why you focus so heavily on this scene in particular.
No, I like the effect of popping the eyeballs out.
Oh, that was what he was like, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
While I can see her boobs. Cooper has now repaired the ship.
The what?
Fucking hell. Oh.
Okay, now a bit of boob talk and he's gone red. Calm down,
Yeah,
Scott. Let's go.
I've gone really red as well. I'm embarrassed talking about boobs. Fucking hell. Cooper has repaired the ship and Smith hears a noise. He sees Weir leaving the escape.
I've done you. Completely done you. I do apologise.
So Smith is on the search and rescue vessel and he hears a noise and he sees Weir leaving the vessel. This is where we find out Weir has hidden an explosive on that ship and it goes boom, killing Smith and sending Cooper shooting off into space.
I hate this. I hate it.
I thought you would.
I fucking hate it. I hate Cooper's corny dialogue in this moment. I hate the fact that he's floating on this stupid little bit of spaceship and oh man, it is so fucking... I don't even know how to describe the use of dialogue and the way it's represented in this.
I know how to describe it perfectly.
Please do.
So you've got Miller, TJ Stark, and we're all now trapped on the Event Horizon. Cooper's floating in space, and in Sharknado 3 style, he fires the jetpack and floats back to the ship while hitting you with lines that you'd expect from David Hasselhoff.
Yes. And you know what, though? If he didn't have his dialogue over the top of this, if it wasn't dubbed with his stupid, typical sort of late 90s R&B star dialogue.
It's very much Deep Blue Sea, LL Cool J in a oven going, I got plans, banging on the roof. It's that kind of...
Yeah, it's like, I ain't dying here today in space, motherfuckers. And then it's like, oh my God, like it's so out of tone for this film and it's just so jarring when it happens. I'm like, why would you do that? Why on earth would you do that in this film? And it comes back again later on. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake.
You get Miller calls TJ and says, look, if you see Weir, take him out. TJ turns around and Weir's there and he takes TJ out by cutting his throat. And then, I don't know, he fillets
This is the most Brian Fuller thing I've ever seen in my life. If you are familiar with the Hannibal TV series and the way that Hannibal Lecter kills and then dresses his characters, almost like, what episode is it? The one in particular is where he does like the Angel of Death, where he cuts the backs open and spreads the wings and hangs them all up with fishing hooks. It is basically that scene. He hangs him over the top of a medical bed and fillets his skin and skins it out and hangs him open chested, but then lays all his organs out on the medical bed in the right order they would be: lungs, heart, liver, heart, all the rest of it, brain. It's insane. It's so well done. The practical effects in this are outstanding in this scene particularly.
Really, really good. It's I can't get over how good this looks. Miller arrives, finds TJ, and then goes and gets a big gun, which looks like a Super Soaker sprayed silver.
Yeah, it's a Nerf gun. It's literally a kid's Nerf gun.
It is. This is quite tense, though, as he's kind of going through. Weir is just creepy as fuck at this point. Also, the paranormal element of the ship. As you get Miller creeping around the thing, you're going, oh, something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. He finds Stark, who's unconscious, and wakes her up using spelling salts, where they're greeted by Weir, who spins around in like the driver's seat of the Event Horizon. He's like,
it's like a throne, isn't it?
Yeah, where we're going, we don't need eyes to see.
Doc Brown was literally behind him, feeding him lines.
Yeah, it's like, where we're going, we don't need roads. It was that line, but creepy.
Yeah.
He also,
it's like if Pinhead said those lines, basically.
Yeah, it's like if Pinhead and Doc Brown had a baby. That's who's delivering these lines. This is where he explains that the Event Horizon has been to another dimension of pure chaos and evil, boasting that the ship is alive and it's beautiful. Weir then tries to power up the gravity drive to take them back to this wonderful place. Stark attacks and he kind of fights her off, and he steals her gun. It's at this point that Cooper's back, as Cooper splats on the window of the ship.
He might as well have knocked on the door and said, "Trick or treat, motherfuckers." That's how bad the dialogue is when he does it.
He hits the glass, and as soon as he hits the glass, Weir shoots him, sending him tumbling back out into space. It's like the most... They put all this effort into the setup for him literally just to be blasted back into space immediately. But we don't need your corny lines here. Goodbye.
Yeah.
He then starts shooting at Miller, who does like an action 90s dive over a table as shit explodes behind him. It was very Die Hard.
Very, like the very stereotypical sparks everywhere. Like literally, it's like bonfire night in this bitch. There's sparks everywhere.
Yeah, air is being sucked out of the window, which brings.
So I just want to touch on this point as well, because what am I missing here? Because Baby Bear went out into the space drive for like 2 seconds, and his inside started imploding. Is this not the same effect in this captain ship right now? Is it still a balance of air and space?
I think there's still some air as it's being sucked out, but this is the return of the bad CGI.
Can't remember what happens.
All the stuff that's floating that's being sucked out is so everything's being sucked out at speed, apart from CGI things that are just floating delicately in the breeze. Yeah. Weir gets sucked out as well. And Miller manages to get out of the room, saving Stark on the way, and closing the airlock. All as like bits of the ship are exploding, like shit's going down in this room, but they manage to get out. The front airlock alarm goes off, and they get down to the other end of the ship, where Cooper is back.
Because they say the airlock's unlocking, and they're all stood there with like armed to the teeth with crowbars and stuff to take out Weir, thinking it's him coming back through the door. The door's open, and just as they're about to whack him, trick or treat motherfucker comes back through, and it's Cooper.
If only he'd delivered that line, I'd have been fully on board for him, but he didn't. He had a much shitter, cornier line that I can't remember. This is where you'd think it would be over, but it's not, because Weir, before he got sucked out of the window, activated the gravity drive, and he's the only one who can switch it off. So they make a plan to blow up the corridor between the escape pod and the gravity drive room, because when they got on there, they identified there was basically explosives in that tunnel for exactly that reason. If there was a problem.
Miller basically picks up earlier on that there's in the corridor, the bridge, there is explosive lined, and Miller's like, why the hell are they explosive here? And Weir explains to him that in the case of an emergency, the corridor would blow, separating the captain's docking area from the rear end of the ship. So if anything did go wrong, they could basically use the front end of the ship as a life raft.
Yeah.
But I'm confused, because didn't they just blast the window out of the front end of the ship?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think they did. This is where now the ship starts to feel inexplicit.
Oh, son of a bitch, gun. You thought I was going to say son of a bitch, didn't you?
The ship starts to fill with blood with no reason.
That's basically how I would have described it, man. I don't know why he was trying to be so clever with that.
No. So you get, I don't know, there's like everything that's glass now has blood behind it. The only reason for this is to give a nod to The Shining.
Yeah, it is very The Shining, isn't it? And it sort of washes her away down to a little tunnel hole.
Yeah,
trapped down below.
It's weird and it's pointless. It doesn't make any sense. This is the bit of the movie I've kind of gone, why? You didn't need that. Why did you do that?
No.
Miller arms all the explosives in the main corridor and then gets the hallucination of the man on fire again, which forces him into the gravity room. Miller is set alight and he begins to taunt him, and the apparition then turns into a Hellraiser version of Weir.
I didn't understand this. How is Weir back on the ship?
I think it's just his spirit or his soul has been sucked into the ship, so he's there permanently.
Because he's got eyes again now, hasn't he?
Yeah. And he's all cut up, all his skin's cut up. He's the floating man you saw at the beginning now.
Yes.
At this point, Miller's had enough, and he picks up one of the oxygen tanks and beats the shit out of Weir with this oxygen tank. But Weir quickly overpowers him. The gate begins to open, and Miller decides he's got no choice, so he just blows up the corridor with him stuck in there with him.
Yeah, but it doesn't blow up the back end of the ship or the front end of the ship. It just basically separates the two. So Miller and Weir are still stuck on the back end of the ship, whereas Cooper and Stark are on the life raft with Baby Bear still in the oxygen regeneration tank.
Yeah.
The gravity field kicks in and basically drags Miller, Weir, and the back end of the ship into the portal that the heart of the ship has opened.
So they get dragged into hell and the lifeboat floats away. Back to the writing that really annoyed me at the beginning. It's back. We get 72 days later. A new crew board the ship. So they board the front end of the Event Horizon, where they're greeted with 3 survivors. You've got Justin, who was severely injured, Cooper and Stark. Stark is let out first and told that Cooper and Justin are fine. As the rescuer removes his helmet to reveal it's Weir, she screams and then wakes up again with everyone telling her to calm down. As it fades to black, you've got Cooper saying, "It's okay, Stark. We're safe. We're safe."
So I think they missed a trick here because it annoys me because I would have preferred to have seen Miller and Weir in this final moments. Like I would like to have just seen a quick brief shot of them floating off to safety in the tanks, the regeneration tanks, and then we got 72 days later and it was Weir and Miller in wherever the Event Horizon first went to.
Yeah,
leading open for the possibility for a sequel.
Yeah, I'd love to see a sequel for this. And the closing lines annoy me as well. We're safe. We're safe. Because they really quite blatantly weren't safe. No. What is safe is it's safe how you can support the show. Lots of safe ways to support the show. I thought so. So you could tell a friend, share something on social media, review us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, buy something in our shop, or get your own personalised episode, as I said earlier. Lots of ways you can get in touch with the show as well. yourunpodcast.com. Click on to record as a voicemail. You can send us a voicemail there. You can do that on Instagram. DM us on any of our social medias or email us at yourunpodcast@gmail.com. That's all the ways you can get involved. Let's go into one of my favourite ways to be involved in the show.
Zoinks! 3-word reviews, man!
So 3-word review goes out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and sporadically on TikTok. This week, as it was all last minute, because I kind of forgot we were recording midweek, it only went on Instagram. So they're all from Instagram this week. We've got Alan Dino, Unfairly Received Classic. And they're a mixed fandom and music producer. We've got Paul Tams, Doom the Movie. He's spot on because Doom 3 was based on Event Horizon.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I was about to call him out for being an idiot then, but
yeah,
that's factually
no, that's
I'll let him off.
Not worth knowing at all. Nightmare Sci-Fi Gold, and they're a horror fan account. And then finally, a telling off for our co-host over on True Crime. I'm going to let you tell her off. I'm going to say her 3-word review, then you can tell her off. Wednesday Wine and Horror. Never seen it.
Oh, Heather. I mean, I can't necessarily tell her off because I only first experienced this film a few years ago. But put it this way, Heather, you've seen my recent top 10 sci-fi horrors, and this is number 1. So you know how good this film is for me. And I've only recently experienced it a couple of years ago. Granted, it's got dated CGI, but it is amazing.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm doing my roundup way too soon.
Heather, you need to go and watch it. You definitely do. Put it on your list. You're going to have a baby soon, and lots of time when you're going to be awake in the middle of the night. Put this on a watch list now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, all the shit you've endured as well, and all those Twilight sequels, this definitely should take priority.
100%. We do have a quiz on the show when we have guests, and one of the new things we're doing is you get to pick what quiz people do. When we have no guests, we don't have a quiz because when I quiz Mark, he gets upset and he gets all pissy and stompy.
Don't put me in a mood. Don't get me in a tissy today. I can't be asked.
So what I'm going to do is I made something that was just a bit of fun today. With all these weird scientific things that have gone on the Event Horizon, I found 5 things. I'm going to ask you if these are real things that scientists have tried or if I made them up.
Okay.
So some of these are real scientific experiments that have happened, and others I've just gone, oh, that would be cool if they did. So number 1, scientists have grown miniature human brains with eyeballs on them.
What, like actual brains?
Actual human brains, but miniature with eyeballs on them.
No, surely not. Surely not a brain can't survive without.
No, they have. They have.
Worrying.
The brain can control the eyes, but the brain is not sentient, so it's not aware of what it's doing. Crazy.
That's freaky as fuck, that, isn't it?
Scientists have discovered that mosquitoes don't like Skrillex.
What, like Skrillex the artist?
Yeah, Skrillex the artist.
As in, like, the drum and bass artist?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
No, surely not. No, that can't be real.
That is also real. A 5-year study.
A 5-year government-granted study to work out I could tell him based on the masses of the human population that most people do not like Skrillex.
So just as a bit of a tip, if you're on holiday and you're being bitten to death by mosquitoes, Skrillex will get them to go away.
Oh, God, I'm going to take that with me on holiday next time I go.
They have opened a portal to another dimension.
No, that's not true.
No, that one is fake. I made that up. They have made attempts to resurrect a megalodon.
As in giant shark?
As in the shark from the Meg. They've actually attempted to bring that back from the dead.
No, that can't be real, because how would you find a full... I thought megalodons were like myth more. I know it's the same way that a Tyrannosaurus Rex is real, but I mean, like, I'm not disputing the fact that dinosaurs are real, nor megalodons. I'm just saying, like, they haven't found surely a fully preserved megalodon to be able to...
So you're saying you're going fake with that one?
I'm going fake with that one, yeah.
That's also real. There is currently a research station working out in the sea. Picture deep blue sea. There is a research station like that where they're working currently to try and bring back a megalodon.
They have a fully preserved megalodon that they are trying to...
No. They are trying to genetically recreate a megalodon.
Why these people?
Why?
Why? We have enough problems with normal sharks. Without fucking giant sharks.
And the thing is, what you need to do is just go to that research station and go, look, I brought a DVD with me. I know it's a bit old. It's from the 90s. It's called Deep Blue Sea. I suggest you watch this before you continue. I was shocked when I found that one.
That's insane. That is absolutely insane.
Just in case you're interested, they're also trying to bring back a woolly mammoth and a velociraptor. Not in the same research station, obviously, but they're also...
Have they not seen Jurassic Park? Do they not know how this shit ends for everybody?
Apparently, they're quite close with the mammoth as well. They reckon that might actually happen in the next 3 or 4 years.
I could do that myself. I could just go to Africa and put a wig on an elephant.
Final one. They have attempted time travel in a modified DeLorean car.
No, that can't be real.
That is also real.
What is wrong with people?
So they used a modified DeLorean car. They basically built a prototype to see whether it would be possible on the back of the movie. Obviously, science fiction breeds science fact. And they worked out that it wouldn't be possible because to travel through time, hypothetically, you need to hit the speed of light. And a DeLorean would be in ash if they hit anywhere near the speed of light. So 88 miles wouldn't cut it.
Those cars are not around very often these days for a reason.
No, exactly that. So yeah, that's all that's some of the scary stuff they're doing. There's loads more. I could have done about 80 of these. There's like everything I'm reading again. Why are they doing that? No, why? Don't do that,
man. People, you bring this fucking shit on yourself. Honestly,
yeah,
I'm glad I'm not going to be around for the next 100 years to witness all the fucking events that are going to decimate the earth.
There's some, like, they know there's deep parts of the sea, like the Mariana Trench, where giant octopus and giant sharks and all these other kind of animals, they're doing tests there to basically try and coax these things out of the trench and up into the open water so they can study them. Again, leave them where they are.
Isn't that what they did with, like, the film Piranha? Have they not seen Piranha?
I don't know. Should we just send them loads of horror movie recommendations and get all this shit shut down?
Yeah, I think we should. Maybe not send them the original Piranha, not the 3DD version.
Send them 3DD.
Yeah, look what happened to Kelly Brook. This is why you don't go in the Mariana Trench.
Low facts. Low.
So the opening shot of this movie, I said, looked really cool, where they do the flyby of the Event Horizon. That took over a third of their visual effects budget, just that one scene.
Worth it. Then again, maybe not with a floating anti-gravity.
No, exactly. All of the flashes we got in Hell were not inspired by Hellraiser, believe it or not. They were all instead images created and replicated from painters from the 16th century.
Dante's Inferno stuff.
Yeah,
basically. I can see the inspiration.
Yeah, if you go and have a look online, you can see some of the paintings they took the inspiration from, and they're pretty much carbon copies. They've just recreated it with visual effects. Paul W.S. Anderson turned down X-Men to direct this movie.
And rightly so. This film's fucking awesome.
I would like to see him do an X-Men movie, though.
I wouldn't. I've seen the Resident Evil films. I wouldn't.
The Event Horizon's design contains a full X-Wing fighter jet from Star Wars. It can be seen on the lower antenna of the first flyby, and it is literally an X-Wing that they've just built into the antenna on the bottom, which I thought was really cool.
Oh, that's awesome. I haven't noticed that. I'll check it on my next watch, though.
In pre-production, they brought on a special consultant for this movie, who was part of the production for 3 months in early stages. And that consultant was Clive Barker.
Oh, cool.
Which explains a lot of the Hellraiser visuals. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is where you're going to get absolutely amazed. It's entirely made in the UK. They formed a crew and built all of the sets, all of them, in 4 weeks.
That's insane. But the fact that you mentioned that this was done solely in the UK, barring like 3 actors, most of these casts are British.
Yeah.
I think the only ones that aren't is Baby Bear and Miller.
Yeah, and it was fully done in the UK. Everything. It was shot here. It was edited here. Everything was done in the UK.
Even though a lot of people think that Sam Neill is American, he's not. He's actually Irish.
Yeah.
So most of the cast is a British cast in this film, barring Lawrence Fishburne and Baby Bear.
Yeah, and they took this from first day of shoot to final cut and ready for release in 10 months, which is around 6 months faster than any other sci-fi production of the similar size.
Wow, that's insane. It really is.
It is, considering how well it come out. This movie is credited in the title credits of a very famous video game called Dead Space as the inspiration for that game.
That's awesome.
Yeah, really awesome.
That kind of reminds me as well, because the front of the Event Horizon looks a lot like the helmet from the guy in Dead Space.
It does.
Like almost identical to the front of the ship.
Yeah, just instead of yellow lights coming through it, it's blue.
Yeah, it is. That's amazing, actually.
And finally, we could have had a very, very different version for this movie. So Miller, who was Lawrence Fishburne, they had 3 people in mind for this, approached all of them. They all turned it down. Top of the list was Arnie.
I wouldn't have liked that.
Second on the list was Tommy Lee Jones.
I can see it, but I still don't think it would have worked as well as it did.
And last one on the list was Bruce Willis.
Oh, I would have been on board for that. He would have nailed it. He would have nailed this.
But yeah, could you imagine complete tone shift? Any of those?
Yeah. Because the thing is, as well, the fact that this isn't such a well-known cast. I mean, Lawrence Fishburne, the only thing prior to this was Dream Warriors, I think.
Yeah, he hadn't done much.
No, I think this was maybe his first film where it was Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah, as opposed to Larry.
Larry Fishburne, yeah. So I think it was his first major role outside of Dream Warriors. So I think it works having the cast it does. As much as I would have liked to have seen Bruce Willis in that role, I don't think Arnie or Tommy Lee Jones would have worked. I think that would have been...
No, Arnie could have done Cooper because his "I'll be back" would have been better as he got blown out of the ship. I'm going to let you score this and take it away first.
Right. So this has always been a 10 out of 10 for me. I love this. This is the best sci-fi horror there is out there. You can keep your alien. You can keep your aliens. This for me is 10 times better than any of those films. I think the way that it handles the elements of hell and their own personal trauma and the way it works against one another is outstanding. The storytelling, the science behind it is so logically explained that it's an idiot-proof watch for anybody who enjoys sci-fi but doesn't quite grasp
sci-fi.
I want to grasp sci-fi, basically. Yeah, it's such a perfect blend of genres. I think the casting is superb. The practical effects in this are superb. The CGI is definitely dated. The score for this is outstanding. It's got its problems, and it's only been recently under a critical eye, having to watch this again for the purpose of the show, that I've picked up on these more than I ever have on previous watches. There's a heavily edited version that we're all enduring right now, and I know that there is a version of this out there that has been cut massively, which I was expecting you to dive into on tracks.
I'm going to in sound off.
Right, okay, so I'll save it for that. So there is a version of this out there that I'm desperate to see, and having to piece all the missing bits together is what makes me score this a 10 out of 10, because I know there is a version out there that is better than the version we've got. But looking at this from a critical standpoint and talking about it there for the episode, I can't possibly score this any more than a 9, even though I know it's worthy of a 10. And It should be a 10, and there is a version out there that is a 10.
You're going to be really upset when we get to Sound Off. There's not a version out there.
There is. I'm still holding out hope. It's I don't believe the myth. It's out there somewhere, and I will find it. But yeah, no, I'm going to round it off on a 9, even though in my heart of hearts, this is a 10 out of 10 for me. I've watched this film countless times since discovering it only just recently, a few years ago, and I've seen it. I could probably watch this every other month. I think I've watched this film since finding it. I love it that much. It's such a great film. It's so enjoyable. Action, horror, sci-fi. It's a perfect blend of everything with a great cast, great practical effects, wonky CGI, and missing plot points. But overall, it's a 9 out of 10, even though I know it should be a 10.
Okay. For me, it's a solid sci-fi installment. It doesn't quite live up to Aliens, Alien, or some other sci-fis that I much prefer. It suffered due to the overuse of CGI that looks, I'm not going to say it looks dated, it looks fucking dreadful now. It looks terrible. It's got a strong cast, compelling story. I would love to see this further explored in either a sequel or someone taking this concept and playing with it in a new way. I love the concept of this movie. I think it's brilliant. I'd recommend this to anyone who hasn't seen it, but for me, it's an 8 out of 10.
That's a fair score. That is a fair score. I love it based on my experience with it. But there's another film that Paul W.S. Anderson was a producer on called Pandorum, which has extremely similar vibes to this. If you've seen Event Horizon, you love Event Horizon, and you haven't seen Pandorum, I would strongly recommend you seek out Pandorum as well. It's a more modern version of Event Horizon with a slight twist.
Okay. I will go and seek that out because I've not seen that.
It's great. It's great. Really, really is. Strong cast, strong story, strong effects. Pandorum's fantastic. And Paul W.S. Anderson comes on as a producer, and I can't help but feel like the guys who wrote the script for it were big fans of Event Horizon, couldn't get the rights to a sequel, and was like, we're going to do this, and pitched it to Paul W.S. Anderson. He's like, I'm not going to come and direct it for you guys, but I'll come on as a producer's role. It's fantastic. It really is.
All right, I'll go and give that a watch. If you want to watch Event Horizon, it's available if you subscribe to Netflix, Paramount Plus, Sky, and Virgin Go in the UK. You can rent it everywhere else. In the US, it's on Paramount Plus and Showtime. Again, you can rent it everywhere else from YouTube to wherever, Prime. We always give the last say on the show to the listeners.
Sound off.
And this week, no one really had anything to say about the movie other than giving us more facts. And I didn't want to put them in facts because I thought they deserved their own segment because the facts that the listeners gave were better than mine. Far better. So Skellington fan, Skelly, a great account, does memes and she doesn't do memes or all of that. She does edits and
a recent recommended account for the show as well.
It was,
reels and posts and polls and her stories. And massive
not memes. That's my account. The actors made up their character stories themselves.
That's interesting.
So, due to the difficulties with the incredibly complicated script, actors were asked to bring their own backstories to their characters. So they all come up with their own backplot and fed that back to the director that he then wrote in.
So basically, Weir was like, my wife's committed suicide.
Yeah.
Miller was like, oh, I left a guy on a ship and he died.
Yeah.
Parker was like, oh, my son's really ill back on Earth.
Yeah, but they all made their own, which is brilliant. Spaceman and the Doll podcast, a brilliant podcast and former guest of the show that I'm gutted I wasn't on that episode because I was on holiday. And you've done a great movie as well. It's a shame the extra footage was lost. They could have been a truly fucked up movie. So after the release of this, work began on a director's cut where they discovered that some of the film had not been stored properly and was either completely unusable or completely missing. They know what scenes were missing, but they do not have the footage. Apparently there is a single VHS in existence that W.S. Anderson had, and he can't find. When he moved, he cannot find this one copy that is in existence that had about 30 minutes of extra scenes. I'll give you some of the highlights, but I won't give you all of them. So there was a backstory between Miller and Stark, showing that they had a previous romantic relationship. You get the scenes where you get that montage of hell. You get a lot more of that. You get naked crew covered in blood having violent sex, including female crew members violating men with metal pipes. I don't know if I wanted to see that.
I do. I want this cut immediately.
You get all of the cryo chambers filling with blood when they first get on the ship. So when you see Weir get out, all of the cryo chambers fill with blood, and that's an extended scene. There's also 3 alternative endings, and these are all lost forever.
How on earth has he lost his copy? What a fucking idiot.
So the 3 variations are exactly the same cut we got in the movie, but they are different variations of that jump scare. So you get the jump scare where Weir's mask comes up. There's one where that's not Weir and Weir's the other person in the tank. There's 3 different versions that are all slightly different. I would love to see a full cut of this. I mean, there's lots of extra character development. There's lots of extra dialogue that was cut, and it was all going to be a director's cut. And because they didn't have the footage, instead they released a 2-disc special edition that had a behind the scenes feature that's about 25 minutes long instead.
Fucking bullshit, man. Because the thing is as well, like, this is an hour and 40 minutes long. I could take an hour, 2 hours and 15, 2 hours and 20 minute version of this film easily.
Yeah,
and the pacing for it is consistent and very well done, but it's noticeable that there's stuff missing.
Yeah, it is, and it's a solid movie. But I think with that, I think it would have added. Just remake it.
I would love to see it, but then again, we have Pandorum, and if you haven't seen Pandorum, again, check it out.
Yeah, you can catch up with us on Friday for horror movie news. You need to search for it's You Run Podcast Horror Movie News. Really easy to find. This week we'll be telling you what we got up to for Love of Horror, which was
exciting,
quite a bit. Next week on the show is our Halloween special. I'm not going to lie, I've been dreading this since I watched the original. I am not going into this feeling any hope or any desire whatsoever. We're taking a look at Terrifier 2.
I think the approach you have towards it is probably the best approach to have for it. From all accounts, it's amazing. It's doing very well at the box office, and I think it's undoubtedly cemented that we're going to get a trequel to this. I haven't seen it yet by the point we're talking, but I am very, very excited to dive into Terrifier 2. I think stick with the expectations you have, and I think you're going to come away pleasantly surprised by this.
Yeah, one of 2 things is going to happen. I'm going to come away and I'll be like, I was so wrong, I'm so sorry. Or I'm going to sit here and go, I got exactly what I got before, but for 2.5 hours, and it was fucking dreadful. Those are the 2 options you've got there. There's going to be no middle ground.
There is going to be no middle ground on this one. I think we're either going to see the birth of the modern day slasher icon, or
which I would like to see. Don't get me wrong. I would like to see this do well. We've just buried one franchise forever. I'd like to see another one be resurrected at the same time.
I think I'm expecting to score this a lot higher than Ends, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, that's not hard. You scored Ends 6.
Which was a fair score for that.
It was a harsh score. I'm waiting. So it'll probably be on that. It won't be on that episode. It'll be on the episode after. We'll find out how you feel after you've done the 3 together.
Yeah, because I've heard a lot of people talking about it and saying that it's, if you go into it watching all 3 as a story about Haddonfield itself rather than a story about Michael Myers, it makes a lot more sense by the time you get to Ends. So I'm going to try and take that approach to the 3 and watch them as a story of Haddonfield as a town rather than a focus of the characters themselves. So I think, but looking from it, I think after hearing that perspective, that would make more sense as an arc. Yeah. So it's a Haddonfield arc rather than a Laurie and Michael Myers arc. So that's the approach I'm going to take on my rewatch, and I will see if that highlights anything better.
Yeah, and we will give an update on that once you've done it. But yeah, next week is Terrifier 2, Art the Clown, Damien Leone, visual effects that are going to make me feel sick. Catch us next week. So say goodbye for us, Mark. I'm dreading it already. Say goodbye. End it. Put me out of my misery.
Cheers, guys. See you next week. Thank you very much. Have
see
you
you
seriously
later.
not seen Idle Hands?
No.
Dude.
But why did you bring that up again? Just to make sure that everyone who is
Just
still
to make
here...
sure everybody knows, yeah. Idle Hands, man. Come on, seriously.
Okay, message me. Should I watch Idle Hands? Send me a DM. Okay, bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Before we forget, you want to die tonight?
Hypochondriac with asthma is in there.
I just lose all sense of equilibrium. I don't know what's happening.
I'm gonna say 9 out of 10.
Always enjoy watching it every time.
Windmills were fire hazardous.
You literally used the paycheck to pay for a house. That's all it was for.
Meeting someone for the first time, you wouldn't be talking like that.
Because he was so stoned, he'd like half fallen asleep.
You and Tasha are meant to be. Y'all figure that shit out.
I just got fired yesterday. I'm free.
I swear to God, I'm gonna stick that whoop up your asshole.